Intervals are like the DNA of music. If you strip away rhythmic information, intervals are basically every sound you hear. Intervals are just the distance between two notes. Scales are just a string of intervals. Chords are a bunch of intervals played at the same time. Melodies are a string of intervals. Understanding how intervals map to the fretboard can be extremely helpful. Hey, welcome back to the channel. My name's Chris. Today you're going to learn how to begin to see intervals on the fretboard. The key to seeing intervals on the neck is to map them across strings in dyads. So not triads, 3 notes, but 2-note chords, just that one interval. The main note, the home bass, and then the interval that's related to it. So playing those as dyads gets you really the sound of the interval and the sort of the harmonic structure of it. Once you can see it and play it and hear it, then you'll start to be able to control intervals in a way that allows you to really unlock their potential. Okay, let's get started. We're going to use the major scale as a ruler, and we're just going to be looking at what's called diatonic intervals. These are intervals from a key, diatonic, from the tonic. And we're going to be in the key of G. Now, we're going to use the major scale as a ruler. And I use the word ruler because, you know, these are all distances, so the ruler is a nice metaphor. I'm putting us in a pretty nice sweet spot on the neck because we're going to listen to these intervals individually, and I want them to sound good. They sound sort of weird and tubby on the lower strings, so I'm going to show you these in a bit of a sweet spot. So let's get this ruler down. It's just a G major scale, and here are the fret numbers. On the D string, it's 5, 7. On the G string, it's 4, 5, 7. And then on the B string, it's 5, 7, 8. With one exception, we're going to be sticking in this shape for the whole exercise. So the idea about these intervals is that what we want to do is turn them into dyads. Each one of these intervals is basically the distance from the root. So this is the root. Each one of the notes in the scale is an interval, and its name is its spot in the scale. So this is the root. That's our 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th root. So the names are really easy to understand. What we want to do now is map them to play against the root at the same time. We're going to play each one of these notes as an interval against the root, as a small chord, a dyad. The first one, however, is a bit of a pain in the neck because it's on the same string. So what we first have to do is get this second, this A note in the key of G, off of the D string and onto the G string. So 1, 2, 1, 2. Here's our second interval. In other words, root, second. Listen to that interval. It's got a lot of dissonance in it. Let's find the third. 1, 2, 3. This one maps nicely. Very sweet sounding interval. 1, 2, 3. That's our major third. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's our fourth. Listen how solid that is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here's our perfect fifth. This is a perfect fourth. This is a perfect fifth. These are called perfect intervals along with the octave because they have what's called sonic consonants. They're very, very stable. They don't require any sort of resolution. They don't create an enormous amount of tension. In fact, they create a lot of resolution. They have sonic consonants. We were on the fifth. Here's our sixth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here's our 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Whoa, listen to that. It wants to resolve so hard up to that root. Now I'm just going to play through them. Here's our root. Here's our second interval. It's a major second, major third, perfect fourth, perfect fifth, major sixth, major seven, and octave. Octave, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and then I like to end with a third because it's just so sweet. So that's the whole exercise right there. So take the time to name these. 1, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th. Get to know them sonically. That's what this exercise is really all about. Just getting to know them sonically and getting to understand what they look like, what they sound like. And then you can really start leveraging them to make music and choose intervals that sound great to you. So there's an introduction to putting intervals on the neck. Obviously, as I stated in the beginning, intervals are sort of the DNA of music. So understanding how they map out on the instrument can be very, very liberating and very powerful. I just wanted to play a couple of examples of things. The piece I played at the very beginning is called Messages from Her, and it's by Sabrina Claudio. It's a fantastically beautiful song. And the chords are D minor, A minor, C, and G. It's a really beautiful chord progression. The guitar player, and actually the entire melodic structure, is all mapped to the interval of a third. So instead of playing this, which is nice, the guitar player chose to just play the single interval. It's so beautiful. You've stripped away all that other information, and all you're listening to is the sonic relationship of the root and the third. And it's so strong that it carries the whole thing. And the melody in the song later is stacked thirds moving around. So it really utilizes the third as the primary sort of, personality of the song right from the beginning. Another example I wanted to show you was that first interval, the second, the major second. Right? It's very harsh by itself. If you're familiar with Green Day, Green Day's album called American Idiot has a song on it called Wake Me Up When September Ends. And in that song, the melodic structure of the verses is the major second resolving to the third. It goes like this. Just the major second moving to the third. Now, it doesn't really matter if they knew it was the major second moving to the third. That's not the point. The point is that's the sound of the major second moving to the third. So once you know that, I guarantee you the next time you hear that song, you'll go, that's it. That's the major second moving to the major third. Now you understand how to identify that sound. So if I'm ever in a situation where I need to play that song in a different key, it's so easy for me. Play it anywhere. A little tubby here. 2, 3. So it just unlocks it for me. So now I understand what the second sounds like. I understand the mechanic of the second to the third and how it sounds and how it resolves so beautifully. And I'm just armed with more knowledge. And as a curious guitar player, I'm now looking at intervals and hearing intervals and saying, ooh, I like, what's your favorite interval? What is your, go find your favorite interval. try it. Just try it. Just go see what you like. Okay, I hope this is helpful. I know that looking at the guitar like this, in this way, starts to build your musicianship in a way that isn't really available when you're just sort of jamming through scales or playing chords or learning songs. When you take it apart like this and you look at this thing with that lens, you are a musician looking at the instrument you play rather than just a guitar player. So anyway, I hope it's helpful. The tabs for all of this are on my Patreon page. That's linked in the description below. If you need them, that's great. Of course, I appreciate any support. That's always vastly welcomed. And I hope this is helpful, and I'll see you next time.